Hey, I'm Morgan.
I'm Harrison.
This is More Travel Please. We're a budget travel vlog. We travel the world even though we're completely broke, and well, that's
Not
what we
right
did
now.
do. Yeah, obviously we're not traveling right now. We just posted our last travel vlog that we filmed last month. We posted it before this one. Now we're out of travel vlogs that were pre-recorded. So since we're not traveling, we were ruminating on what we miss about traveling and also some of kind of the things we like about not traveling.
So we're just going to talk about the things that we liked and the things that we didn't like in no particular order, except we're going to talk about the things we liked first. So I guess there's that order.
Yes, so these are the things that we miss about traveling, and disclaimer, I have a written list, that's why we're looking down. So anyway.
It's because my feet are so interesting. Whoa.
They're so big and gross. It's distracting.
Sweaty, clammy.
Gross.
kind of ogre-ish, actually. All right, so the first thing that we really miss about these trips is the simple sense of adventure.
Should we be giving context? If you don't watch our videos,
we should probably
if this is your first video, we usually travel. We traveled Europe the last 2 years, 6 months each time, and this year we started our United States/Canadian road trip, which had to end, but the goal for this year was to do a big road trip. Who knows what's happening now. But we're usually traveling, so it's weird that we're home. Anyway, that's the context. Now back to the first one. You were saying sense of adventure.
Yeah, I mean, like, and even in like the first trip we went on, we were like diving through the waters and islands of Croatia. Last trip we went on, we started in Malta, and it was like all these really cool, like beachy, adventure-y places. The canals of Venice and like different like things you never really feel like are a big deal till you get there and you experience it and you're like, holy, this is awesome.
Well, that's him. I always thought they were a big deal. I don't have that experience at all. I always thought they were a big deal.
I don't appreciate things until they're right in front of my face. I'm like, whoa.
When you're home and you're living a normal 9 to 5, you know what's going to happen pretty much the next day, the weekend. But when you're traveling, a lot of times you don't know what's going to happen.
When we were in Scotland, we ended up just talking to this guy who was like, my band's playing at a show and you guys look like you got a camera. You want to do like a music video for me at this like hole in the wall like venue? And we're like, yeah, let's go. Like, this sounds awesome. And we did. We went that night and filmed it, and it was such a like cool, unique experience that we couldn't have planned that. We just were walking in a park and happened to meet this guy.
Seeing new places, adventure, excitement, every day's different. That is great. I really miss that. That kind of bleeds into the next thing, which is just meeting new people all the time. You meet other travelers, you meet locals, and because we house sit actually when we travel, that's every time you're meeting new families. So that's a really cool thing. I feel like when you're living at home, unless you live in a big city or something, which we don't. I mean, maybe then you'd meet people all the time, maybe if your job requires that. But like, I mean, we work at home. We only go out to the store. Like, we're not meeting people. We don't live in a city. So it's exciting to meet new people all the time.
The next thing on our list that we really liked about travel was simply just getting out of our comfort zone. Now, for me, this entire trip all around Europe, both of them, was getting out of my comfort zone. Morgan really was the one who was like, we gotta go do this. And the whole time I'm like, yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll do this. All right. And then she's like, all right, I'm booking the tickets. I'm like, sure you are. Yeah. And all of a sudden she's like, all right, we're leaving tomorrow. And I'm like, oh crap, she wasn't kidding. So for me, I'm glad we did it, honestly, because it's like an adventure I will never forget, to be going to all these countries. And especially, we're like so young. We're only like 25 and 26. So for us...
24 still.
Oh, you're 24.
Until May 19th. So
yeah, sorry. You got less than 4 weeks. I would have never had those experiences had Morgan not pushed me out of the comfort zone. So I just really appreciate that. Thank you.
Aww, that's cute. So this one, I guess, is pretty unique to me because, Harrison, I don't think you ever really had the dream of travel, right?
No, I don't have dreams. I'm a sad, dark, black abyss of a hole.
Well, the difference is I think travel never seemed out of access for you.
That's true. I did travel. It was the very beginning of when we were dating.
Yeah.
I went with my my meme. I went to Costa Rica, and I went to England, and I went to Morocco. And so I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's very accessible to me.
You knew that was an option for you if you wanted to.
I didn't really have a desire to travel, if I'm being honest.
So for me, growing up, it was like a huge dream because we didn't grow up with money. I did go on a plane and stuff. My aunt lives in Florida, and she took me to Virginia too. So I had done a little bit. I had that on a plane. I was very lucky that my aunt lives there. I could go visit her and I could travel at least somewhat. But I always dreamed of going overseas. I saw my coworkers, my classmates going overseas, and like I was so petty. Like they like went to Italy, but they didn't know any of the monuments, and I'd be like, oh, I know the monuments. I should be the one in Italy.
I remember you telling me about like a desktop background that you had of Venice, and you were like, wow, like I want to go there, and it like really inspired you.
And my aunt showed me like a picture of Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany, and that was on my wall for so many years. And the fact that I got to go to these places that took up so much space in my mind for so long that I literally dreamt about, had dreams about, like thought about, drew myself in these scenes, like just so many years thinking that I couldn't do it, and I did.
No crying. No crying. You're not allowed to cry.
It's so silly. It hit me a lot of times traveling, like just felt so overwhelmed, like I'm here, like it's crazy. So that's a cool thing.
Stop it. It's supposed to be feel good. These are good
It is
things.
feel good.
No crying. Why are you crying there? You don't like crying.
You can do the next one.
I'll do the next one. All right. I don't want you choking up anymore. So the next thing is learning more about the world and new perspectives. Wow, I see why you let me do this one.
Oh, it does line up
Because
that way.
Morgan pretty much knows everything everywhere we go. I actually have this one funny memory of when we went to Italy. What was the name of that plaza?
In Venice?
Yeah, in Venice.
Piazza
Yep.
San Marco.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that's it. I had no idea. Like, I didn't know anything about it. And I was just like, okay, we're going to some place that Morgan wants to go to. That's fine with me. And we get there, and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And she's like, what? And I'm like, this is like my favorite map in Assassin's Creed. And she's like, are you serious? And I was like, I didn't even know this was the name of it because I don't even read when I'm playing video games. It's an Assassin's Creed. And I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I've climbed that tower. I've climbed that thing. And she's like, oh my God, this idiot.
You're the person I would be pissed at in high school who got to go to Italy but knew nothing about anything.
Yeah.
I always read up on everywhere I go before going there, so I know history.
Yeah, but it's nice that Morgan does that for me so that when I get there, then I can ask questions and then you guys get the benefit of that because I'm going to assume that there are people out there who don't know everything about a place. And so I'll ask Morgan, like, what the heck is this about? And then she'll answer it. And then now we get great content. So it's a good thing I'm an idiot is what I'm saying.
We all have our roles. For a good example is when we went to Bosnia, we went to Sarajevo. I wanted to go to Sarajevo for a lot of reasons. One, because I'm into World War I, that's where it started. But I had no idea. Neither of us had any idea about the Bosnian War in the 90s, the Yugoslav wars. And we went on a war tour while we were there. We talked to people who'd lived through it. And that was it was a really powerful experience.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even know this whole thing happened. All these people's lives were affected. And we would never have known about this probably ever, except unless we had gone there. So, knowledge.
Knowledge. So that leads us into our next point, which is once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Morgan, you want to start off with this one? What do you think?
I think the biggest one that I think right off the bat, I don't know if this could ever happen to us again or ever will. I hope it does. But we were in a country winning at the FIFA World Cup. That's probably maybe one of our best memories ever. Yeah,
it's sad to say this, but there's no fans like soccer fans. Like, they are so intense and into it, and it's awesome. And there's nothing you can really, in the U.S., compare it to. You could try to compare it to American football, but, like, it's not, I would not say it's at that same level. It's such an appreciation and love for your own country to be represented on such a huge stage. And for Croatia, a team that no one really suspected would make it that far, it was such a unique experience.
I had no idea that the World Cup was even going on. And just the fact that we happened to be in the country as it was winning. I mean, I can't even describe the excitement and the feeling in the air of the crowds, of the parties all night long, of people celebrating and just freaking out. I don't know if we'll ever see something like that again. It was such a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
I'm getting like chills thinking about it. Like, it was so cool. So the next thing on the list is not needing a car. When we were in Europe for both of our trips, we took public transport only everywhere we went. and it was pretty awesome considering we were in Europe and everything that we need is usually just a small walk away, including groceries.
Drug marts, you can buy makeup or whatever you need. So like anything was in walking distance. Post office, even in the small villages, even in the tiniest village we ever been to, there were still walking distance stores. So that was so awesome to not have to have a car, not to spend money on gas, not to sit in traffic. I mean, the public transport is so great. All the places we visited, so we really miss that.
And the next thing we miss about traveling is not paying rent. So if you are new to the channel, you should know that we house sit everywhere we go, and in house sitting, we don't get paid, but we also don't pay to stay there. So it saves us a ton of money throughout our entire trip. And actually, if you want to check out how much money we spent on either one of our trips, you can see some stuff popping up here. If you want to see what our budget was, it was very cheap. If we were to stay home and just live here and pay rent, it would have been more expensive to do that than to travel all through Europe. And that's including every penny, like our cell phone bills, our transportation fees, our accommodation fees for those times we did stop at an Airbnb, our food, everything. It just costs more for us to sit here and live here than it does for us to travel around all over the place. I still find it super hard to believe that we found a way to pull it off. If you guys want to try and pull it off too, the website we use is Trusted House Sitters.
We have a code.
Yeah, in the link down below, somebody doesn't make it up to me.
Sorry.
We got a code that is like a reference code that gives you a little bit of a discount.
I think it's 25% off, something like that.
And it helps us out too, so be sure to go check that out if you want to try house sitting yourself.
Another thing we really miss about traveling is the new foods.
Yes, the new foods. Yes, this is mine. This is mine, right? So pastitsi from Malta, those are definitely number one. Papinosh from Romania.
Crepes in Paris, and
Crepes,
cheese
yep.
and bread, wine.
Yep.
The beer in Scotland and Ireland.
And Germany, the German beer.
that's
How could you
really
forget
good.
the German beer? My first beer.
The whiskey in Scotland, rather.
Oh my God. So much whiskey.
So another thing that I miss about Europe, I don't know if you miss, because I wrote this list, but let's see if you miss it too. It's effortlessly exercising and basically the lifestyle of Europe.
So the reason she says effortlessly exercising is something we'll mention about why it's effortlessly for her later on when we talk about things that we don't enjoy. So be sure to stick around when we talk about that. But anyway, yes, generally speaking, walking around everywhere felt so good. I would much rather be able to walk to a store than drive to a store like we have to here in the US.
When you're in, not necessarily Europe, but I guess when you're traveling in general, you tend to do so much walking just because you want to see places.
Especially since we don't have a car too, it's just cheaper than trying to get like a bus or something. We would try to walk instead of taking a bus if we could.
And doing house sits also gives us... I went to mic pick that up. That was so loud. Anyway, so just the fact that we usually had dogs to walk because we have a cat at home, but we don't have a dog. So we'd have to walk the dogs a couple times a day. We'd have to go to the store. We'd go out to film.
Get up early to walk the dogs, which is huge for us. We're pretty much nocturnal people.
We miss that lifestyle. Now we're just inside all the time, and it's not good.
My cat's pretty happy though.
Yeah, she is happy. Another thing we love about traveling is that you're constantly challenging yourself. I guess a challenge we had the last trip was we wanted to do this hike in Romania, and I was thinking about it and I'm like, it's gonna take literally all day. It's so many miles. I haven't done a long hike in so long, but I was like, we're only here once. I have to challenge myself and just do this stupid hike, and it was awesome and it was worth it. It was very tiring. But you challenge yourself to do things you wouldn't normally.
You said Romania. Did you mean Slovenia?
No, Romania, because we did that hike in Zarnesti.
No, but the ones in Slovenia were way more intense than the one in Romania.
Yeah, those was challenging. We wouldn't have done it if we didn't have fire under our ass. I've challenged myself physically more than I ever have in my whole life, just by traveling and pushing myself to do it, because you're only there once. So that's good. We also love just being around different cultures and languages. I know something that you were scared about when we first started traveling.
I was so nervous when we very first went. I was freaking out. I was
about the different languages.
I was like, we're gonna get lost. Someone's gonna take advantage of us. I was so nervous. And you find that when you do travel, there are some real assholes. I've been assaulted before on our trip, but 99% of people are very nice people, and they really genuinely do want to help you. To have that kind of exposure to that really changed my kind of worldview, honestly.
I also love seeing movie and TV locations. We've done tons of stuff all over Game of Thrones locations in Croatia and Harry Potter locations in England.
We did The Sound of Music in Austria.
Oh yeah, exactly. And there was Outlander in Scotland and stuff. So locations, I don't know, it's just cool.
Yeah, it is cool to see all that. And it was cool to recreate some shots too.
I like shopping when traveling. So we don't shop a lot. And whenever we do shop, I don't go to like Chanel or something in Paris, but I go to thrift stores in Paris. And yeah, it's just a really fun, unique experience to see what you can find in other places. So we touched on house sitting, but we miss it as well, not just because, you know, we don't have to pay rent when we house sit, but we actually just love house sitting. We love all the people that we've met. It's like we have family all over the world.
And we also like the pets too. The pets are awesome. I mean, I think both of us are really into dogs and cats, and they all have their own little personality and all that.
They're so cute.
Oh my God.
We talk about them all the time. Like, I wonder what this dog's doing, this silly dog. Like,
no, yeah.
We miss them. They're all so sweet.
They've forgotten about us, but we haven't forgotten about them.
And house sitting itself is such a unique experience that I don't think many travelers have done. It's crazy the places that we've been able to stay. I mean, we've stayed in places that we would have never been able to afford in our wildest dreams to stay one night in.
It. We found a glitch in the system to be able to do something like this. It still blows my mind today.
And I guess the last thing we miss about traveling is just the fact that it feels like that's what we're supposed to be doing. Like, we feel like we should be on the road traveling, doing that thing. Like, it's where we're meant to be. It's what we're meant to be doing, and right now we can't do that.
All right, so now we've talked about everything that we missed, and now to be negative. I know most people start with the negative and go with the positive. We like to make things seem good at first and then dunk it underwater.
Yeah, let's talk shit about travel.
Yeah. So we don't have time to relax.
Yeah, that's the first thing that's bad about travel. That's kind of good about being home. Sometimes we get incredible lack of sleep just because of the schedule we have to keep with our house sitting duties and with our filming duties, because we were doing 2 videos a week on our channel before we came home and had to work. Now it has to be less. But the 2 videos a week, the amount of effort we put in is a shit ton of work. That's why we can't do it anymore. Can't keep up and live. So it was a lot of work to, you know, move place to place, to take care of whatever you have to take care of with your house sitting, to edit constantly, to film new things, to be on time, to social network. It's like exhausting. And something that we realized that now that we're home, we can't vlog. All we can do is kind of work, edit the stuff we've already filmed, but we're finding that we finally have a little time more to relax, like been able to chill out a little bit, get some sleep, not have to, you know, kill ourselves so much. So that is one good thing. We're forced to take a break a little bit. Something we don't miss about travel is spending surprise money. We miss a bus, your train is delayed, you have to pay for an Uber you didn't want to pay for, stuff like that.
It's just frustrating.
Something I definitely don't miss too much about traveling is the stress that comes with figuring everything out all the time for like 6 months ahead of time.
It's not too hard. If I'm being honest with myself, I just look to my left and I say, Morgan, what are we doing next? And then it just happens. Stressed.
It's always on me to figure out what to do. It's always on me to figure out the best times, the best prices, and if I fuck up, then I fuck it up for me and him, and possibly people we're house sitting for. We could lose a lot of money, so it's a lot of pressure to get things right and to make sure I'm not doing something wrong by accident. And it's just a ton of work to plan a 6-month trip, you know. We have to figure out all these details that you might never have thought of before. I don't really have that stress here because we're not going on adventures all the time, so that stress is gone. So that's kind of nice.
So another thing that we do not miss about traveling is packing and unpacking our stuff constantly. And the worst part is when we do pack everything, one of us has to carry all of the bags everywhere we go.
Oh, I don't see the problem.
Oh yeah, it's really effortless exercise, right?
Yeah,
because that's what it was. It's just effortless. It's the lifestyle, she says.
It's real easy. I don't know what he's talking about. I just look to my right and it happens.
And it happens. When we went to Croatia, we had to like walk up this ridiculously long hill because I was like, I'm not getting up in taxi. It's gonna be like $20.
You signed your own fate that moment. I wanted to get a taxi.
So we went up this hill and we met it was an Airbnb. Luckily, it wasn't a house sit because that would have been a really bad first impression. But we got there and I'm like looked like I went swimming. I was so sweaty.
Yeah.
Like I was like my shirt was soaked. I was wearing like cargo shorts and they were like dark because they were so soaked.
You like went to shake your hand. You're like, please.
Yeah, I was like,
for your own
dude.
sake. Forget the formalities right now. Like, I need to shower.
That was exhausting. So I definitely don't miss having to do all of that. The next thing that we don't miss about travel is missing our friends and family and missing particular big events. So a big one for me was my grandfather ended up passing while we were in Romania, and I was pretty devastated I could not make it to the funeral. So that was really kind of sucky. But I did thankfully get to make the memorial video. I don't know what to call those.
Yeah, I guess that.
Like a funeral video, and it's like all these photos of his life, and so that was like really nice for me to do for closure and stuff like that. But yeah, would have been nice if I was home for that, but I wasn't. What you gonna do?
So obviously that's really sad, and just the fact that you're away from your friends and family. It's just nice to have familiar faces, people who already know your whole story. You don't have to explain again. Just, you love them, you miss them. So that's something we don't miss about traveling, is missing the people. Although I guess right now we're still kind of missing people because of the whole situation. But at least we're close by, so if something happened, we could be there still.
Yeah,
somehow.
that's true.
But yeah.
All right, so another thing we definitely don't miss is having mediocre showers. I don't know what is up with Europe and just the lack of water pressure that, that comes with Europe showers, but the water pressure here in the US is like strong. It's diesel. And it's as if you had a water bottle and you poked holes in the cap and you squeeze it. And that's the water pressure in Europe. Like,
yeah, seriously.
It's so bad. This one is definitely a Morgan problem. So you want to go ahead and tell them your Morgan problem, Miss 60-pound suitcase?
So, con of travel is that you can't have your whole closet with you.
Oh, so you think.
Although you may think I did, I didn't. That was only a fraction in my 60-pound.
Oh my God. People think you're like piling concrete in that bag when you pick it up, but no, it's just like...
To be fair, I had to bring heavy coats because we were going to Scotland, and as well as like all my bikinis, so there had to be room for everything.
So your coats and bikinis is what took up all this space in those bags. That's it. Not the 4 sweaters, 7 pairs of pants.
You need sweaters, what can I tell you? It's gonna get cold.
4 of them.
Don't wear the same thing every day.
Oh my God.
But even that was not enough to satisfy me. It's so fun every time we come home from traveling and I get my whole entire closet with so many outfits and so many shoes and jewelry, everything. I can have a lot of fun dressing up, something that you can't generally have when you're traveling because you're living out of a suitcase. And plus I remember like when we were in London, it was so cold and we wanted to buy like gloves and hats, but we were like, we're going home in like a couple weeks, we don't want to buy this stuff. So it's nice when you're home because then you just have like, you pretty much have your...
Stuff like that,
yeah. You just have essentials that you might not always carry with you when you're traveling, so that's really nice to have when you're home.
Totally forgot about that.
I guess that means you have to bring another suitcase next time for the gloves.
No.
A thing that we did miss about travel was the fact that we didn't have to use a car, and also a thing that we don't miss about travel, and the good thing about not traveling, is that we get to use a car.
It has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
When we are using public transport, you have to follow the timetables, and sometimes in certain places the last train comes for the day at like 11 o'clock at night, and if you don't make that train, then
you have to run through the streets of Paris with everybody else just to hope you get there in time. And then I'm dying out of breath, and Harrison says, oh, it's just around the corner. Then we get around the corner. I'm like, where is it? He's like, oh, it's around this corner. Just to trick me to keep running. I'm like, Harrison, I'm gonna die. He's like, hurry the fuck, I don't care. We're not missing this train. Sometimes it's good to have a car.
All right, so the next thing that we don't miss about travel is that we can't do hobbies. Things like playing video games or painting or building some cool thing like I do.
I mean, if you commit to travel, unless you're rich or you somehow, like, maybe your hobby is knitting, maybe it's easy enough for you to carry that with you, or if you just like to draw specifically, then you can carry that with you. But anything else that requires things...
right. Like for me, like playing video games, I actually did bring my video games. I know this is a sin, all right. I have gaming on my Mac. And I actually used Boot Camp to switch it over to Windows, and I brought my PlayStation controller with me, but I didn't play once. Oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong. I played one time, that was on the way there, and then that was it. And that's because we just don't have time. We don't have time. Everything we're shooting and filming and all that, it's just there's no time to do anything else. And so now that we're home and now that we have found that there's not a lot to film, I played video games for the first time in like a year and like a half, and it was so weird.
I'm even playing. It's nice.
Yeah, and it's crazy to have just this little bit of time to be able to pull stuff off like that. All right, the next thing we don't miss about traveling is missing my cat, Cleo. The cutest baby you have ever seen in your life. I got her when I was 10. I'm 26 now, so like to leave her, it was very hard. I did it, and now we're back home. And now she's really happy. Now that we can't leave.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have it any other way. Next thing we don't miss about traveling is Wi-Fi trouble. It is like
a plague against our lives.
Dude, like, and what really frustrates me too is when you ask people, "Oh, how's your Wi-Fi?" and they're like, "Oh, it's like the best you've ever had," and then we get there and it takes 2 hours to upload 2 photos.
Dude, we have some stories.
And then we have to work at the train station because the train station Wi-Fi is like 100 times
Maybe we should
stronger.
talk about that in the video dedicated to itself, because that could be a whole.
Oh my god.
Maybe we should do like a travel rants or like the most annoying travel stories or something. Would you like that, or is it too like sad? So let us know. It's kind of fun to hear rants, right? Like, who wants to hear good things? We have endless good things, but the few annoying things that have happened are
so frustrating. And especially for us too, because we are making these videos, we need to upload twice a week, and it takes a lot of data for us to do that. When the Wi-Fi is slow, we've been in situations where it's like, oh, your video will be uploaded in 4 days. You feel like so like defeated because it's like there's nothing I can do.
Sucks.
I've heard some dream things about Japan.
That is a dream.
Maybe one day we'll go there and we will never have to worry about
and then we'll just
Wi-Fi
move there,
problems.
because why go anywhere else? We
Right,
have
we
ultimate
just live
bandwidth.
near the 5G towers with all the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, just let it burn our brains out or whatever they say.
Yeah.
Something we don't miss about traveling is getting burnt out. So sometimes just traveling so long term, every day is an adventure and it's amazing. Sometimes it's just like too much. Like, you just can't handle something new again. You just can't handle walking around all day again, filming again.
We got this next thing, and then we go, like, get to this place and we're just like I can't even, like, my eyes are glazing over type of stuff, and I'm like,
Sometimes there's only so much amazing things you can take before you just need a day of nothing amazing. I mean, you can feel guilty too, because it's like, well, we're in this place the one time, and it's like, well, now I feel guilty that I missed it. Or it's like you're burnt out, but you force yourself to do it anyway because you're afraid of
and then you
missing
can't
it.
enjoy it though.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing that Morgan clearly doesn't miss is flying on planes, because I actually don't mind flying on planes. I love flying on planes. It's like a roller coaster to me with no tracks. It's so cool.
I hate flying because I'm so scared of it, which is so ironic. I enjoy landing because I'm so excited to look out the window at the new place we're going to. Liftoff is the scariest shit in the world for me.
I don't know what it is about them, but like once we're on it, you don't have to think at all for like the next at least couple of hours.
I feel that way about catching a bus or catching a train. I love that
Yeah,
feeling.
see, that's what I don't miss, because I get car sick very easily. So like I would much rather, like, planes are so smooth that like I don't get car sick, but on buses I'm just like, oh, what are we doing? Like, how are we getting there? Morgan's like, we're taking a 9-hour bus ride. I'm like, fuck. Today's gonna suck.
He gets so car sick. So when you're traveling, another thing that we don't like is that it's harder to buy things that you specifically need.
I think one thing in particular is finding like adapters from American to European.
Something that happened to me the last time we traveled is I couldn't find Clean and Clear anywhere, like acne stuff. I swear to God, the Europeans just don't have pimples. Like, apparently they don't need to deal with them. The whole continent.
It's the preservatives in our food.
Yeah, I guess so.
So the last thing that we do not miss about traveling is the toughness of making money. When you are up and going all of the time, there's a lot of things that you just can't predict. And for us to work for somebody with any job online or whatnot, it's just it's such a hectic schedule for anyone to just accept, I think.
Yeah, being home has granted us the stability to, I mean, we just bought this ring light that we're using now. We have a stable place to film anytime with good lighting, with no one interrupting us. We have great Wi-Fi that we can upload it quickly. So that's another huge problem. Like we mentioned, when you're traveling, the Wi-Fi is iffy, which makes it harder to keep your job and to do a good job. And then if you're doing a good job, then our videos are falling to the side because our Wi-Fi is going to the work we're doing. So traveling just makes it that much more difficult to work.
It's not consistent is what the problem is.
Yeah.
When it's not consistent, it's unpredictable. And jobs don't like unpredictability.
Honestly, though, we actually really do miss traveling. All the negatives are just like nothing compared to the positives. We can't wait to do it again. If you have any ideas of what you would like to hear from us, tips, things like this, opinions, whatever, let me know in the comments. I have some ideas too. We're not going inactive on this channel. I'm sorry if sometimes our videos are sparse. It's just because we can't, we're not only YouTubers, unfortunately. I wish we were, but we're not to that point yet. Thank you to our amazing patrons, though, who are helping to get us there.
And if you do want to become a patron yourself, here's the website right here. And there's also a link in the description down below. I do want to mention that also you can join this website up above, and that website is moretravelplease.blog, which is where you can see, I was going to say you could see where we're going to travel to next, but
whoa, you're right.
We don't know where we're going to go next.
Oh, we have to go to those places.
That makes me so sad. Oh no.
Question mark? So you can see the question mark.
You can see maybe some point in the future where we will be next. Oh, that was so
Subscribe to our Instagram. I just made a new Instagram for our channel. Just not subscribe. Follow that and like the video if you liked it. Please share it if you found it interesting at all. We need the shares because that's really how we get any exposure and stuff. Sharing is huge, so it's super appreciated. Thank you very much. Yes. And I think that just wraps everything up. Yeah, we're gonna shut up now and let you go. So hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're doing okay. Please leave some comments. We'd love to hear from some other humans out there. It feels like we're alone in this void. Yeah, hit subscribe. Thank you for watching. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. See ya. Stop looking at me. I see you looking at me. I just want to put on the record that this was not my most physically challenging thing that I've ever done, and Morgan's just way out of shape. I'm just a fat ogre. You call me that? No, I am. Oh. A fat ogre who has a ton of energy. Because I'm so fat. We're not putting that in.